Expectations are high as the Central Bank of Nigeria Monetary Policy Committee meeting takes off tomorrow. Nigeria's foreign reserves hit over $46 billion, recording an increase of over 8% in just 1 month. Plus, correspondent on market survey reports of low business activity in the market. And in the capital market, the market closed March strongly after late gains in some index heavyweights. I am Amina Nujaim and will be your guide through today's edition of Business Express. You're welcome. In the news today, Nigeria's foreign reserves stood at 46.21 billion naira as of 28th of March 2018 and up by 8% from a month ago. According to the Central Bank of Nigeria data on Saturday, successful debt sales, including a Eurobond offering last month, had helped the government to accrue billions of dollars in foreign reserves, although they remain far from the peak of $64 billion in August of 2008. The government raised $2.5 billion in Eurobonds in February and expects more to follow. Nigeria's foreign reserves have climbed 53% from March 2017, when it stood at $30.30 billion. Experts predict that the nation's foreign reserves may hit $55 billion within the next 3 months. And as the newly constituted Monetary Policy Committee MPC of the Central Bank of Nigeria CBN begins its first meeting for 2018 tomorrow to review developments in the nation's economy since its last meeting in November of 2017 and decide on the monetary policy direction for the next 2 months. Financial analysts have been speaking, while some financial analysts canvass the need for the MPC to review almost 2-year-old monetary policy rate downwards. Others would wish a retention of the status quo. Those canvassing a reduction say it would boost lending and enhance economic growth. On the other hand, those for retaining the monetary policy rate at 14%, cash reserve ratio at 22.5% and liquidity ratio at 30% believe it will enhance the consistent drop in the nation's inflation rate in pursuit of price stability. However, decisions of the Monetary Policy Committee meeting will be largely influenced by domestic and external economic developments. How much is Nigeria's currency, the naira, exchanging for other international currencies like the dollar and euro? Stay with us. The Central Bank of Nigeria CBN recommends corporate bond issuance to finance houses as a strategy to tackling the challenge of paucity of funds confronting the subsector. CBN Director and other financial institution supervision, who was speaking in Lagos, said one of the major policy thrusts of the finance company subsector is the establishment of finance institutions to operate within the middle tier of the financial system, with the focus on small and medium enterprises SMEs segment. This, she said, informed the CBN reformed program of the subsector in 2013 with emphasis on building a strong capital base, development of appropriate products and capacity building. Based on the reform, each finance company was required to have a minimum capital of 100 million naira. Lagos State government says the application of technology in the collection of the state's consumption tax is targeted at improving efficiency and plugging leakages. Chairman Lagos State Internal Revenue Service Ayodele Shuber says it's an electronic way of recording all sorts of transactions. Consumption tax is applied when goods and services are consumed in the hospitality sector, hotels, restaurants, event centers, nightclub and bars. A 5% charge is taxed on invoice when a member of the public goes to various centers either to buy goods and services or to get a renting space in any of these establishments. The Easter public holiday of Friday and Monday provided residents of Abuja to stock their homes to make the best of the period. How did it play out in the markets? Let's see this report by Bosede Abel.
The hustle and bustle of Easter celebration, no doubt, extended to various markets in the Federal Capital City in Abuja. At Wuse Market, it was a situation of more sellers than buyers. Respondents say it is not as busy as compared to Friday and Saturday, as traders and other service providers waited patiently for patronage.
No market?
No market, yes.
Why, is it because of the Easter?
Yeah, because of the Easter, that is why.
Traders say there are no visible changes in commodities and other items.
As I said before now, so the price, they don't increase the price.
Okay, so how much bag be before now?
Bag, we can sell like 16,000, 16,500. But even 16,000 is okay.
No, nothing increased because of Easter. Things cost since. Things they cost since. Nothing changed because of Easter.
There is no increase in price. Prices are the same as before.
Muna say that she 3,000 ne. Muna sayarwa 2,800.
Before Easter, na ne kana sayar da irin wannan?
Yanzu yayi tsada gaskiya. Dan abin da muke so shi kuma ana kaiwa 2,500 a wurin mu 2,700. Kuma muna biyan kuɗin baro, muna biyan kuɗin mota.
Rice, meat, yam and plantain, as well as tomato and pepper, are the most purchased during festive periods. But some traders lament over poor patronage.
Before this time, we are trying to sell 1,300, 1,400, 1,500. Now people are even bargaining even lesser because of no money. We are just trying because our product is not something that you can just keep. You must dispose of it in a day. So automatically you must sell it out. You get a little.
Market, no deal. Just managing.
However, the slight changes in food prices appear to be no hindrance for buyers to shop.
We can buy. This is Easter. They can put price in anything that we are buying here. So there's no problem. It's always the same. So we'll have to manage with them. Whatever we see, we manage. That is what I will say.
It is the view of traders that resumption of work tomorrow across the nation might have positive impact on the business of buying and selling. Bosede Abel, Business Express.
And the key role of human capital development in any economy and the need to economically empower the unemployed graduates were among the considerations of the Buhari administration in establishing the National Social Intervention Program, with the Empower initiative currently engaging about 200,000 Nigerian graduates. Muplang Dakok tells us more in this background report.
Economists have over the years observed that the development and utilization of human capital is important in a nation's economic growth, and Nigeria is not relenting in its determination to use this resource to become competitive in the Committee of Nations. President Muhammadu Buhari and the Vice President Yemi Osinbajo at a colloquium in honor of Bola Tinubu were unanimous in stressing that the APC-led administration is out to change the narrative of governance from looting the wealth of the nation to investing hugely in people. They say the successes recorded by its social investment programs are clear indications of the administration's economic and growth plan drive to invest in human capital development.
There is no mortal hand that can keep us from our best destiny until that hand be our own. Thus, we invest in people, we invest in ourselves, because we are delivered by God-given faith that tomorrow can be better than today, and that good will triumph over evil.
Of the targeted 500,000 unemployed graduates, 200,000 are already benefiting from the program. Since the launch of the National Social Intervention Program in 2016, the program has continued to expand with initiatives in job schemes for unemployed graduates, a feeding program for public primary school pupils, and a microcredit scheme for businesses, as well as a cash transfer scheme for the poorest and vulnerable households.
Many thanks, Muplang. And as we continue our special focus on the nation's economy, focus today is on human capital development and National Social Intervention Program. To speak to the issue is an economic analyst who has continued to follow the trend in the nation's economy, Mr. Nii Akinsiju. It's a pleasure to have you on Business Express today.
Always my pleasure.
Right.
Yeah.
Most economists believe that for any nation to prosper, key drivers of the economy is human capital development. Now, looking at the diverse nature of the Nigerian situation, what would you say about that?
Well, I think the basic interpretation in contemporary times of human capital is labor. And labor, as you know, in basic economy, is one of the factors of production. Labor is measured by its skill set, capacity, and of course, motivation. Skill set would underscore the fact of empowerment and alignment of labor at any point in time to production and to the productive process. And that is why in contemporary times we call it human capital development. Human capital development cuts across all sectors of demography. And when you talk of demography, you talk of age, you talk of age, sex, and all that. What we have in Nigeria is a case over a period of time of growing unemployment. And when you have growing unemployment, and you have in our demography too, a large population of youth. And what you have in that situation is a misalignment, of these segments. And when you have a focused government, what the government is supposed to do in the immediate is that intervention. That is why it's called Social Intervention Program. Now, on the flip side, you also call it Social Investment Program, because it is a stopgap investment, to empower those who are in the unemployment circle.
Let me come in here.
Yeah.
This initiative you're talking about is one the current administration is working on.
Yes.
To what extent do you think they can achieve their set targets?
Well, I think they are achieving it already, because if they targeted 500,000 for the Empower program, for instance, they've been able to recruit 200,000. At 30,000 naira a month, that translates to 6 billion naira a month expenditure. It is not just only for the beneficiaries of that program. It is also for the economy, because when you have that kind of arrangement, it also means that you are channeling that sum of money into the larger economy to enhance what we call transaction value. And when you enhance transaction value, it means that you are taking 6 billion naira every month into that economy for purchases. When you take it into the economy for purchases, it also translates to the fact that companies that are into production and services would have reason to produce more. That is one basic reason.
Talking about producing more, that 200,000, they are targeting 500,000.
Yes. So, and we are hearing now that in the next few months or few weeks, that they will add another 300,000. Then when you had another 3,000, that translates to 15 billion naira going into the larger transaction space. It helps, it does not only help the social well-being of the beneficiary. And I'm saying social well-being because it also means that the beneficiary would have something to move from one point to the other and have temporary employment engagement. It secures his well-being socially. It also helps the economy on a larger scale, because it helps boost production and productive activities. So on a larger scale, what we are looking at is you have graduates. And don't forget that 30,000, some people don't know, it is near the basic salary of a level 8 officer in the civil service. That's the truth. You know, so we need to get people to understand that it is actually near what a level 8 officer, step 1 or step 2, you know, will be earning. So to that extent, it takes care of the social well-being of the beneficiary. The temporary engagement also increases capacity because the other side is that person is not employed, is not doing anything. But now he's employed, is doing something, is gaining experience on the job, and is earning something. And beyond that, the economy is also benefiting. The larger economy is also benefiting because more productive activities would ensue.
Okay, let's go on the visit by Bill Gates recently, where he did commend the current administration on the efforts they are making in improving the situation of the Nigerian economy. But he did make mention that focus should be put on health and education and other aspects of the economy that could sustain that prosperity. Do you agree with that?
Oh, well, I think there's the problem is that there's the past Mr. Bill Gates had issues with deficient information. The little I've known is that in terms of access to health, the government is doing so much. And I'm saying this objectively because I have experienced it. In virtually all wards, and I'm talking about 300 and something thousand locations across Nigeria, you have what you call the basic primary health centers. These health centers, the ones I have experienced, are as good as some private hospitals, you know. But the problem is, even local people are not too conscious of the capacity of those health centers. Okay. And if you look also, there's also a connection between the conditional cash transfer and health. The basic process of conditional health transfer is that 5,000 that you are supposed to earn per household is supposed to encourage you to go and register in a health center near you. You know, and when you do that, it is also impacting directly on human capital development. Human capital development means the health, the social well-being of the laborer.
There's also the aspect of education. He didn't just talk about health. He also said focus. Special focus should be made on education.
The same thing. This cash transfer is called conditional cash transfer. One of the conditions for the household to access it is that the children would have access, you know, to school, will be registered in school. And don't also forget the free meal, the free lunch aspect of it. The free lunch aspect of it is a compounded benefit system, you know, because one, the children would have access, no matter the capacity, the income level of the household you are coming from, you have access to free meal a day, you know, lunch. And to quickly wrap it up, what you now have at that level is that what we have now is that there is also increase in school attendance by more than 2 million from where we are coming from as a result of the free lunch, as it were.
Okay, now finance seems to be a huge challenge to empowering youth, particularly those embracing entrepreneurship skills. Let's talk about how we can solve that problem in the long run.
Well, I think even in the short run, the government is making efforts. One of it is the Empower, and I think there's a lot of activities going on with the Bank of Industry. As a consultant, I advise most of my clients on how to link up with Bank of Industry. Most often, people don't even know how to talk, how to process their activities and their what do you call it, their focus, as it were, on business. You have Bank of Industry for very variable other matters. You have a Bank of Agriculture. The Nigeria Development Bank is coming on stream, where people can link up with microfinance houses and access funds, you know, from the Nigeria Development Bank and all that. So I think going forward, it's a major platform, you know, to reinvigorate the whole economic process, because that is one of the ways of diversifying the economy.
Okay. As we round up this discussion, the NPC is set to meet for the first time this year since, you know, and with new members and all of that. What do you think their priority areas should be?
Well, I think they will want to review the rate as it were at 14%. Some of us have been open, you know, very well that they will reduce the benchmark rate from 14% even to 12%. At 12%, it will impact the economy because it also translates to the fact that cost of loan, cost of borrowing will fall, you know, the direct relationship to the reduction of the rates, as it were. I think also going forward, we are hoping that inflation rate would fall, and that would encourage the MPC. If they cannot do it in this month, they will do it next month. You know, but generally there are indications. There are indications because Treasury bills, interest rate on Treasury bills are falling. Interest rate on bond are also falling, and because some have even fallen under 13%, and that would, of course, impact the MPC rate, as it were.
Now, Nigeria's foreign reserves have hit $46 billion and is still counting.
Yeah.
How is that impacting on the economy?
It will, because one, it translates to the fact that importers of accredited goods and industrial equipment would have easy access to forex, to foreign exchange. One of the reasons we went into recession in 2016 was because there was acute shortage of foreign exchange, and our industry could not import raw materials and equipment. Now you can even import, you can even project what you will need to buy foreign exchange in the next 1 year. You know, so it's easy for you to plan. And of course, it also means that you are bringing this into Nigeria at a cheaper rate relative to what used to be in 2016. You know, rates are also stable. Because rates are stable, it's easy for companies and manufacturing outfits to plan.
Mr. Ni Akinsiju, an economist, thank you for joining us on Business Express today.
A pleasure always. Thank you.
Right. Now moving on, Nigeria's capital market ended the month of March on the high following late rally by the index heavyweights.
The market opened for 4 trading sessions this week as the federal government of Nigeria declared Friday, 30th March and Monday, 2nd April 2018 as public holidays. Meanwhile, a total turnover of 1.541 billion shares worth 16.6 billion naira in 18,805 deals were traded this week by investors on the floor of the exchange. The NSE All-Share Index and market capitalization appreciated by 0.08% to close the week at 41,504.51 basis points. All other indices finished lower during the week with the exception of the NSE Premium, NSE Consumer Goods, NSE Lotus 2 and NSE Pension indices that appreciated by 1.15%, 1.73%, 1.58% and 0.34%. The financial services industry led the activity chart with 1.024 billion shares valued at 10.9 billion naira traded in 11,019 deals, thus contributing 66.44% and 65.75% to the total equity turnover volume and value. The consumer goods industry followed with 213 million shares worth 3.053 billion naira in 2,693 deals. The third place was occupied by oil and gas industry with a turnover of 158 million shares worth 908 million naira in 1,897 deals. Trading in the top 3 equities, namely Zenith International Bank PLC, Champion Breweries PLC and Sky Bank PLC, accounted for 485 million shares worth 5.8 billion naira in 2,221 deals, contributing 31.53% and 35.15% to the total equity turnover volume and value. ETPs also traded during the week with a total of 15,293 units of exchange-traded products valued at 254,840 naira, A total of 21,583 units of federal government bonds and one state bond valued at 22.8 million naira were traded this week in 16 deals. 40 equities appreciated in price during the week, higher than 33 of the previous week. 40 equities depreciated in price, lower than 49 equities of the previous week, while 91 equities remain unchanged.
That was Musa Abubakar with that report. Now, policies and programs of government and other players continue to impact the commodity prices. Let's now give you an insight into what is trending. How are the markets trending in some key African nations, United States, Europe and Asia? Let's have the numbers as presented.
Most African equities closed higher on last day of trade. Kenya's Nairobi SC20 climbed 0.75%. Tundex appreciated 31.58 points. Namibia overall 2.55%. In U.S., equities closed on a positive note on Thursday. Dow Jones Industrial Average gained 1.07%. S&P climbed 1.38%. And Nasdaq Composite gained 114.22 points. In Asia, the Nikkei gained 295.2 points to close 21,454.30. Shanghai Composite and Hang Seng Index all closed in positive territory. European equities finished the session higher on the last trading day of the month, with DAX closing 156.02 points to close 12,096.73.
Thank you, Musa. Now a quick look at global commodity figures. And that's it on Business Express today. Do join us again on Wednesday for another package. Until then, thanks for watching.